Hello, have you ever been in the place where you're wondering how you can get your children to actually take responsibility, do the things they're supposed to do, pick up after themselves, generally be more disciplined without you having to yell your head off? You won't be the only parent that has that concern. In fact, a few days ago, I put out a question out there asking parents what areas they want to work with in their children's life in the coming year. And most of them said something about helping their children to get things done, to pick up after themselves, and basically do the things that they're supposed to be doing. This basically describes responsibility, and this is what we're going to be talking about in this video. My name is Chiniku Ore, and I'm your partner in raising outstanding children. I'm on a mission to support parents to proactively raise their children to become outstanding. And in this session, we'll be looking at how to raise your children to become more responsible. You know, there is this misconception that responsibility comes with age. Some people just say that they won't send their children out of the house till they're a certain age just so they'll be able to take care of themselves. But I want to say that whereas age has a role to play in maturity, responsibility does not just fall in your children's laps. Think about it. I'm sure you must have come across some overgrown babies, people that are quite old but they just can't seem to get anything done. And then you wonder about it. How did these children grow up to become so irresponsible? Being responsible basically means to be able to own up to your actions, to be able to do what you're supposed to do at every point in time without being reminded of doing them. Responsibility is a strong character pillar. So a child that is not responsible grows up to be an irresponsible adult, and that is a character flaw. So today, the question is, how do I get my children to become responsible without me having to scream my head off? In fact, I scream a lot and still I don't get much done with regards to my children becoming responsible. We're going to be sharing just a few quick tips which will work for you if you make the decision to apply it and apply these principles consistently. So I have a question for you. What are those responsibilities that your children have currently? Regardless of their ages, there is something for them to do in the house. One major way of raising your children to become responsible is by giving them responsibilities. See, responsibilities, responsible. By giving them responsibilities. What are responsibilities? Tasks that they are supposed to be doing, which you will hold them accountable for. So I ask you a question. What are those responsibilities that your children have? These are not assumptions. These are not the things that you feel they should be doing. These are not the things that you want them to be doing. These are the things that they know they are supposed to be doing on a regular basis. Tasks that have been assigned to them. You don't just assume that the children should know to pick up after themselves. You don't just assume that they should go and make their bed at a particular time. You don't just assume that they should arrange the parlor. If you don't assign specific tasks to any child, you shouldn't hold them accountable if those things are not done. So my question is, what responsibilities do your children have? So the first tip in helping your children to grow to become responsible is to assign age-appropriate tasks to them. Hear what I said, age-appropriate tasks. Another mistake that some parents make is that they expect too much from their children when their children are not old enough to handle those responsibilities, or when the children have not been equipped to handle those responsibilities. You can't expect your children to start washing clothes, washing plates, or cooking if you have not equipped them with the skills that they require to be able to achieve those tasks. So you have to assign age appropriate tasks. You find out what they should be able to do at that certain age, and then you assign those tasks to them. And then it is not enough to assign those tasks to them. You should also show them how to carry out those tasks. If you're working, I'm sure that when you got your job, you went through an onboarding process, and in that process you were taught the tenets of your organization, what is expected of you, and how to carry out in those activities. And I know that if peradventure you got a new job and you were just asked to do some things and you were not shown how to do some things, you would have become quite frustrated, and you might not have been able to deliver on your tasks optimally. Or sometimes they might give you a task at work and they don't give any guidelines as to how to achieve the task, and you might use your own initiative and come up with something only for you to turn in the task, and then your superior makes it look like you just wasted your time and you are done, you're a dunce, or you don't know what you're doing. How does that make you feel? These are how our children feel sometimes, because they have feelings too, they have emotions too, and sometimes you just expect them to do things and you don't even show them how to do them. And you might show them how to do them and you expect them to become experts overnight, forgetting that there is a learning curve and you're there to guide them through the learning process. So the first thing, like I said, is to ensure that you assign age-appropriate tasks to them. And the second thing you should do is that you put them through an onboarding process so that they'll be able to understand how to do the things you want them to do. If it is washing plates, show them how plates are washed. If it is sweeping, show them how to sweep. Make sure you show them by doing it first or doing it a number of times, and then get them to repeat. And over time, they'll get better. They will not master it overnight. You didn't master the skills you have today overnight. So don't expect your children to be able to master whatever skills overnight. So please, dawn on patience. Every parent needs a triple dose of patience to be able to raise their children to become responsible or to have any other virtue that you want them to have. So now that you have assigned these tasks to them, ensure that you communicate these tasks. Let them know that they are responsible for this and that. You have to have reminders. Maybe if you have charts, put it out there, have it written out and placed in places where they can easily see what is expected of them. And then discuss with them in a relaxed environment. Let them understand why they should do the things that they need to do. One thing that sometimes children want to argue about is they want their own freedom, but they need to understand that there is a price to pay for freedom, and for every freedom you attain, there are boundaries around it. But don't just come up with an authoritarian approach where you just tell them you have to do this and they can't ask any questions. So have what I call toolbox meetings where you discuss with the children, let them understand that everybody has a role to play in the house to make the home to function. Ask them how they will feel if everywhere is upside down and they are not able to get the things they need when they need it. Or imagine how they will feel if they get to the kitchen and open the fridge and there is no food in there and they are hungry. These are the things that happen when people drop the ball and they do not do what is expected of them. So as a parent, you have your responsibilities and they too, they have their responsibilities. And you as a parent, it's modeling to them how to take on your responsibilities by making sure that food is available, they have shelter, they have their clothing, they go to school, their school fees are paid. You're just modeling how to be responsible. And then they also have their part to play by doing the bit that they should do. These discussions help to get your children to buy into the responsibility game. It gets them to see that they have a role to day and they are contributing their own quota in the progress of the home. Like I said, it's not a confrontational discussion. Have this discussion in a relaxed setting and get their buy-in. Ask them and see what they feel about the roles that you have been assigned to them, and try to be fair, because you have different children, you assign different roles that are age appropriate. And this also brings me to the topic of fairness and equity. Sometimes a child might be saying that it looks like the task that he or she has is more than another child's task. Let them understand the place of equity. Equity means that you give everybody what they require per time. So you might have 3 children, of course, of different ages. You can't expect a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old to have the same responsibilities, just like you as a parent have more responsibilities than they do as children. So they should understand that for every task that has been assigned to them, they are age appropriate. So seek and secure their buy-in, and then let them know that there is a reward system. There is a reward system. If they do their tasks as they should, they are maybe entitled to something. Or if they don't do their tasks, they are also entitled to something. I'm not saying you should pay them for doing their tasks, but the reward could be that they cannot engage in their leisure activities for the day unless they have finished their tasks for the day. They are not entitled to eat another meal if they've not washed the plates that they used to eat their previous meals. Just make sure that there are consequences. There is a reward system, and the children know what this reward system is. And then you make sure you follow through with this reward system. Don't forget to encourage them, affirm them when they do what they're supposed to do. And then another thing that we sometimes forget as parents is that we do not have a structure, we do not have a schedule. I'm always talking about having schedules so that children will know when they're supposed to do what. It helps them to be more organized. It helps them to manage their time better. It helps them to be more productive. Yes. So let them know, for example, this is when you're supposed to do this. You don't just come out and start complaining that they haven't done this or done that when they are not even aware that they should have done that particular thing at a particular time. And when they have a schedule, it helps you to curb procrastination. Because one thing I've come to observe is that sometimes when you want to get your child to do something, the default response might be, okay, mommy, fine, I'll do it, but I'll do it later. Let me just finish what I'm doing now. But when you have a schedule, you make them understand that we have timing for everything. The Bible says there is a time for everything, and this time has been scheduled for this task. So please get it done at this time. So these are the discussions you should have early before you start confronting them, because they should know what they are being held accountable for before you come up with a consequence or whatever reward system you have in place. So yes, make sure you have these things scheduled. And then you have to limit your talking. I'm of the proponents of talk less and act more. Sometimes when you talk and talk, your children don't take you seriously. I made a post a few days about the power of silence. Silence, they say, is golden. So how do you talk less and act more? In the mornings, remind them, okay, that remember everybody has his own role to play and you need to play your own role today, and I don't want to remind you about it. If I remind you once, I'll apply the consequences and there is nothing you can do about it. And then just give them time, and if peradventure they're not doing it, get their attention. Don't shout. Make sure you can't, just call them and then ask them, have you done this? Make sure you maintain eye contact. If not, you ask them to go and do it. And then if you come out again peradventure and they've not done it, just apply the consequence. Don't talk much again. Just apply the consequence. When they see that you are serious, they too will sit up. And if you come out and they've done what you're supposed to do, also commend them. What kind of commendation should you give them? I like that you did this task when you were supposed to do it without being reminded. Thank you. And then you give them a pat. Researchers have said that physical touch helps convey these commendations better and the impact stays for longer. So give them a pat on the back or a hug or a kiss or something. Appreciate them. Acknowledge what they did. And that will not be the time to say, I wish you would always act like this, or that is what I had expected you to do the other day and you didn't do it. Just acknowledge the good deed and leave it at that. Do not link any other thing to that acknowledgement or that appreciation. So this is the end of this very short video. I hope it is useful to you. To get results, you just have to apply these things. Identify the things you want your children to be doing. Ensure that they are age appropriate. Make sure you onboard them, show them how to get these things done. There are always shortcuts that work. It don't make the job look like it's so rigorous and unachievable or too demanding. Make it look easy. Secure their buy-in. Let them understand why everybody has a quota to contribute in the running of the home. Set up a structure and a schedule. Set up a reward system. Follow up. Apply consequences. Talk less and act more. That is all for today in this video. Thank you so much for listening to the end. My name is Chinepori and I'm your partner in raising outstanding children. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also join our Facebook group, the Raising Outstanding Kids Facebook group, where we provide support and give free tips to parents and resources on how to raise their children to become outstanding. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you will be alerted whenever we release good content. And if you have found this video helpful, please share, invite others so that they'll also be a part of what we are doing. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.